Good morning, all my beautiful patrons. Today we're going to be working on this crochet cup cozy, or koozie, however you like to say it. My husband says koozie, I say cozy. I guess it depends on where you come from. But this is a crochet version. I've already done a felt fabric version for you guys for a different style cup. So I wanted to do a teacup version. And you could use this same basic pattern for pretty much anything. It doesn't have to be strictly fall themed. But I used a felt leaf to decorate mine. You could use any type of decoration that you wanted. Or you could just, leave it completely plain and just use a fall themed yarn or whatever holiday theme that you're wanting. But this is another one of those fall themed tutorials that I wanted to do for you guys. It is also in the line of craft show ideas for one of my patrons, so she knows who she is, and I wanted to give her another idea. And it's also a useful item for anyone else who would like to have a little fall themed decor piece that they could use on a daily basis. So I'm going to go ahead and get into the tutorial, and I hope that you guys like it.
So the things that you're going to need are, you're going to need whatever yarn you're using. You're going to need a 5mm crochet hook, a button, whatever decoration you're using. I'm using these felt leaves that I got from Dollar Tree. They're a 20-pack, so I just chose the leaf that I like the best and what would go well with the yarn that I have. So the yarn that I'm using is a Red Heart Super Saver in gold. It is the same yarn that I used for my fall wreath. You're going to need your tape measure. You're going to need a thread and needle. I could not find any orange thread, so I just separated some embroidery floss, and I'm going to be using that for my thread. So you want whatever color thread that coordinates with your button, and my button is orange, so I needed orange thread. You're going to need your hot glue gun and glue sticks, and your scissors. So to start off with, I chose for this pattern a standard size coffee cup. So this is just a standard size. It's one of the ones that my husband got me on base. So it's, pretty much the standard size that you would find in a store with the standard size handle. So I chose this one. That way you can kind of use this pattern for pretty much any size cup. And especially if you're using it to make things for craft shows, you kind of want to have a general size that anybody could use. So this is the size cup that I chose, and I think it'll work just fine. So for the body of your cup cozy, you're going to need, I'm going to be making a panel, a rectangle panel out of the griddle stitch. So this is what it looks like. I went ahead and worked it up, and I'll go ahead and go over how I did that with you in just a minute. But this is what it looks like because it has a lot of texture, and I think it looks really nice. And I like the griddle stitch, so I went ahead and worked up the sample piece, and so this is what it looks like. It is worked back and forth long ways. So you start your chain stitch down here and you work back and forth until you get the length that you need. And I think it looks really nice. It adds a lot of texture, and I think it'll go really well with what we're going for. So to start this, so our piece measures 3 inches wide by 10 inches long. So, and that fits around the cup, so it will have this space in between the handle for you to put your button and your loop. So that'll make it a little bit adjustable to be able to use it for different size cups. So that's kind of what I was wanting to go for, and this is what it will look like once you're done. So our starting chain is 12 stitches, which equals 3 inches. So for the griddle stitch, you have to have a multiple of 2, so that's why we're using 12 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. And if you've watched me for any amount of time, you know that I don't do any chain stitches at the beginning of rows. I go directly into whatever stitch I'm working. So I'm going to start working the griddle stitch, which is in the first stitch a double crochet, and in the next stitch a single crochet. And you repeat that all the way down the row, and then you reverse it for the next row. So I'm going to go directly into that 12th stitch, which is the last stitch, with a double crochet, and then in the next stitch, and I am working in the back loop so we get a nice neat edge, I'm going to go into the next stitch with a single crochet, and I'm going to repeat that all the way across. So the next stitch will be a double crochet, and then the next one will be a single crochet, and then a double crochet in the next stitch, and then a single crochet, and then a double crochet, single crochet, and then a double, and then a single, and then a double, and then a single crochet in the last stitch. Now for the next row, we're going to do the opposite of what we just did. So we ended on a single, so we know that we need to begin our row with a double crochet, and you're going to do that for every row. So whatever is worked the row before, you're going to do the opposite. So we're going to start with a double crochet, and then a single crochet in the next stitch, and you're going to repeat that all the way across the row. So on top of your single crochets, you're going to do doubles, and on top of your double crochets, you're going to do singles, and that's what creates that texture. So the next stitch will be a double crochet, and then a single crochet, double crochet, and then a single crochet, and then a double crochet, then single, and then a double crochet, and then a single crochet, and then a double crochet, and and we're going to end with a single crochet. So that is what you should have, and you're going to repeat that until you get your total of 10 inches, which equals 28 rows. At least for me it did. Depending on your tension, you know, you may have less or more rows, but my tension is pretty even throughout, so mine was 28 rows long. So like I said, you're going to repeat that until you have that number of rows or inches, however you choose to work it. If you choose to just measure it, then you just need to go until you have 10 inches. So on the next row, since we ended with a single crochet, you're going to start with a double crochet, then a single, then a double, then a single, and you can just look at your work and know that on the row below, if you did a single crochet, you would do a double. If you did a double crochet, you would do a single, and you're just going to repeat that, and that's what's going to give you this texture here. It gives you this nice kind of bubbly texture, which I think would be, you know, is really nice, and it's becoming one of my favorite stitches. So go ahead and finish that, and then we are going to move on to the next step. So for the next step, we're going to be creating, so we have 12 stitches here, so directly in the center would be 6. So we're going to use the 5th and 6th stitches to attach our loop. So in the 5th stitch over, you're going to attach your yarn, and then you're going to chain enough chains around to be able to go around whatever size button you're using. So keep in mind that crochet stretches, so you probably won't need too many. And what you can do is you can just see if your button fits by putting it through. And my button will fit, so I want my chain to be fairly tight, so I have 6 chain stitches there, and I'm just going to attach it to that 6th stitch and fasten off. And that's what's going to create our little loop. And then you can just cut that. And then you're going to want to hide all of your tails. And I forgot to bring my yarn needle out, so you want to go and hide all of your tails, and I forgot to bring my yarn needle out, so I'll do that later. But what you want to do is you want to put your cozy around your cup and figure out exactly where you need your button to be. So for mine, it's going to be right on the edge, and probably for yours will be the same. So I'm going to put it directly in the center, and in order to do that, you can count over your and find your 6th stitch and then put your button centered in that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So I know that I kind of need my button to be centered between the 5th and 6th stitch, and then I'm just going to sew my button on. And like I said, I didn't currently have any thread that matched my button, so I just separated some embroidery floss, and I'm using that as my thread. So always keep that in mind. And you just want to sew it on until your button is tight. I mean, obviously you don't want to sew it so tight that you can't get the loop around it, but just a few times. So just like that. And then I'm just going to tie it off. And my embroidery floss broke. If you're using thread, that won't happen. So just tie it off like that, and then yours will be much neater. So that is your button. So you should be able just to fit your loop around it now, and like that. So decide where you want your decoration to be, and I'm just going to put mine directly on the front, which will put it at the front of my cup. Or you could choose to put it on the side, depending on where you want it to be. It's completely up to you. Like I said, I'm just going to put mine directly on the front, and since I'm using this felt leaves, I'm just going to hot glue mine on. You can use whatever type of applique you would like. You could use, like I said, you could use a pre-bought decoration. You could use crochet ones that you've made. The loose leaves, like what I did on my silverware pocket, you could use that. You know, the sky's the limit. It's whatever you choose to do. But I just want to kind of give you the basics of what the pattern is, and this is what I've chosen to do. So I'm just going to go ahead and hot glue my felt leaf on, and mine fits pretty perfectly in that size. So I know that I'm going to need to put hot glue pretty much all over this leaf, and I'm going to have to work pretty fast in order to be able to get this on there without it drying before I can get it placed. So that's just basically how I'm doing mine. And I can't ever use hot glue without getting something boogered up. But that is just a quick and easy. So depending on what you're using this or making this for, if you're making it for like craft shows or gifts, you can get this one package and you'll get 20 different cup cozies out of it. And this particular package has 4 different styles, so that's a nice way to be able to get a variety of different styles. Kind of the same thing. You could even change up the yarn color and you know, do different themes. So always keep, you know, the Dollar Tree in mind when you're using it for decor and stuff, because they're a very cheap way of being able to use or to make decorative items, you know, on an easier scale. So if you were to like crochet like the same amount, 20 leaves, it would take you a lot longer than it would be for you just to slap this on. So, and they are just as pretty as anything that's crochet. So that is what it looks like. I'm going to go ahead and hide all of my ends, and then I will come back and show you the finished product. Okay, so this is what it looks like once it's on the cup and everything's finished. You have your button with your tie, and then you have your decoration. And it works really well to keep your hands from getting burned or to keep your cup warm, depending on how you look at it. But I think they're really cute, and I hope that you guys like it. So like I was saying, you could use any decoration that you wanted. You could even use the same pattern to do different seasonal designs. So you could do another one for Halloween, another one for Thanksgiving, another one for Christmas. You could pretty much take the basic crochet version of the cup cozy and do whatever it is that you would like to do with it. So I hope that you guys like it, and I will see you guys later. Have a great day.